Hey, Mommy, what are you doing?
I'm doing Vlogmas Day 8. Can you say good morning?
Good morning.
Good morning. It's Vlogmas Day 8. We're going to be quick in bed and just read our paper chain real quick. It's 28 days, only 4 weeks till Amsterdam. So I've got to make all my appointments and get all of my room reservations settled up. I'm going there to check out schools to potentially work at, potentially go to school at. So not some fun willy-nilly vacation. All right, 28. We know what we are, but we know not what we may be. It's true. We don't know what we may be until we decide who we are, right? This evening, Goofy Man and I are bringing you a helpful home remedy for if you have a little one who's sick. So while you're doing dishes, you can grab some kind of big bowl. Wait. And you can put a little bit of Epsom salt in a measuring cup. And what you're going to do then is get some delicious essential oil and sprinkle it into the salt. As you know, oil and water don't mix. So if you just sprinkle the oil into the water, it's not going to be quite as aromatic and delightful as if you do it this way. So wait, we're going to count our drops. Let's do, how about we do 3 drops of peppermint? Well, I guess if you really want to pour it in there, you can. But then we can sprinkle our peppermint on top before we do any water. So there goes our Epsom salt. Alright, oh, zoom in. And we're going to zoom in for a super cool artistic close-up of our peppermint oil. Maybe. Come on. 1, 2, 3. Okay, drops. And now we're going to just put in some warm water. Ooh, how about some bubble bath? And then what you have is this delightful, aromatic little place for your little one to play while you do dishes and they clear their sinuses. So this has been Shades of J Mom Edition, or Health Edition, or soon to lead to Anatomy Corner. Thanks for watching. Can you say thanks for watching? Can you say like?
Like.
Share?
Share.
Subscribe?
Subscribe.
Thank you. Can you say Merry Vlogmas? So Vlogmas is super tough, and Sissy has us doing like 2 parts a day. So I just am incorporating our life into our 2 parts for today. And we're going to read this book for our night story with you on Vlogmas. So, Horton Hatches the Egg by Dr. Seuss. And this is from 1960. This one, it's an old one. So. Sighed Maisie, a lazy bird hatching an egg. I'm tired and I'm bored and I've kinks in my leg. From just sitting here, day after day. It's work. How I hate it. I'd much rather play. I'd take a vacation. Why offer a rest? If I could find someone to stay on my nest. If I could find someone, I'd fly away free. Then Horton the elephant passed by her tree. Hello, called the lazy bird, smiling her best. You've nothing to do, and I do need a rest. Would you like to sit on the egg in my nest? The elephant laughed. Why, of all silly things, I haven't feathers, and I haven't wings. Me on your egg? Why, that doesn't make sense. Your egg is so small, ma'am, and I'm so immense. Tut, tut, answered Maisie. I know you're not small, but I'm sure you can do it, no trouble at all. Just sit on it softly. You are gentle and kind. Come, be a good fellow. I know you won't mind. I can't, said the elephant. Please, begged the bird. I won't be gone long, sir, I give you my word. I'll hurry right back. Why, I'll never be missed. Very well, said the elephant, since you insist. You want a vacation. Go off and take it. I'll sit on your egg, and I'll try not to break it. I'll stay and be faithful. I mean what I say. Toodaloo, sang out Maisie, and fluttered away. The first thing to do, murmured Horton. Let's see. The first thing to do is prop up this tree and make it much stronger. That has to be done. Before I get on it, I must weigh a ton. Then carefully, tenderly, gently he crept up the trunk to the nest where the little egg slept. Then Horton the elephant smiled. Now that's that. And he sat, and he sat, and he sat, and he sat. And he sat all that day, and he kept the egg warm, and he sat all that night through a terrible storm. It poured, and it lightened, it thundered, it rumbled. This isn't much fun, the poor elephant grumbled. I wish she'd come back, 'cause I'm cold and I'm wet. I hope that Maisie bird doesn't forget. But Maisie by this time was far beyond reach, enjoying the sunshine way off in Palm Beach, and having such fun, such a wonderful rest, decided she'd never go back to her nest. So Horton kept sitting there, day after day. Soon it was autumn, the leaves blew away. And then came the winter, the snow and the sleet. The icicles hung from his trunk and his feet. But Horton kept sitting, and said with a sneeze, I'll stay on this egg, and I won't let it freeze. I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful, 100%. That's what he said with a sneeze. So poor Horton sat there the whole winter through, and then came the springtime, with troubles anew. His friends gathered round, and they shouted with glee, Look! Horton the elephant's up in a tree! They taunted, they teased him, they yelled, How absurd! Old Horton the elephant thinks he's a bird! They laughed and they laughed. Then they all ran away, and Horton was lonely. He wanted to play, but he sat on the egg and continued to say, I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful, 100%. No matter what happens, the egg must be tended, but poor Horton's troubles were far, far from ended. For while Horton sat there, so faithful, so kind, 3 hunters came sneaking up softly behind. He heard the men's footsteps. He turned with a start. 3 rifles were aiming right straight at his heart. But the men didn't shoot. Much to Horton's surprise, they dropped their 3 guns, and they stared with wide eyes. Look, they all shouted. Can such a thing be? An elephant sitting on top of a tree? It's strange. It's amazing. It's wonderful new. Don't shoot him. We'll catch him. That's just what we'll do. We'll take him alive. Why, he's terribly funny. We'll sell him back home to a circus for money. And the first thing he knew, they had built a big wagon with ropes on the front for the pullers to drag on. They dug up his tree and they put it inside, with Horton so sad that he practically cried. We're off, the men shouted, and off they all went, with Horton unhappy, 100%. Up out of the jungle, up into the sky, up over the mountains, 10,000 feet high. Then down, down the mountains, and down to the sea, went the cart with the elephant, egg, nest, and tree. Then out of the wagon and onto a ship, out over the ocean, and ooh, what a trip! Rolling and tossing and splashed with the spray, and Horton said day after day after day, I meant what I said, and I said what I meant, but oh, am I seasick, 100%. After bobbing around for 2 weeks like a cork, they landed at last in the town of New York. All ashore, the men shouted, and down with a lurch went Horton the elephant, still up on his perch, tied onto a board that could just scarcely hold him. Bump! Horton landed, and then the men sold him. Sold to a circus. Then week after week, They showed him to people at 10 cents a peek. They took him to Boston, to Kalamazoo, Chicago, Weehawken, and Washington, too, to Dayton, Ohio, St. Paul, Minnesota, to Wichita, Kansas, and Drake, North Dakota. And everywhere thousands of folks flocked to see and laugh at the elephant up in the tree. Yeah, poor Horton grew sadder the farther he went, but he said as he sat in the hot, noisy tent, I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful 100%. Then one day, the circus show happened to reach a town way down south, not so far from Palm Beach. And dawdling along way up high in the sky, who, of all people, should chance to fly by but that old good-for-nothing bird, Runaway Maisie, still on vacation and still just as lazy. And spying the flags and the tents just below, she sang out, What fun! Why, I'll go to the show. And she swooped from the clouds through the open tent door. Good gracious, gasped Maisie. I've seen you before. Poor Horton looked up with his face white as chalk. He started to speak, but before he could talk, there rang out the noisiest of ear-splitting squeaks from the egg ant that he'd sat on for 51 weeks. A thumping, a bumping, a wild, alive scratching. My egg! Shouted Horton. My egg! Why, it's hatching! But it's mine! Screamed the bird when she heard the egg crack. The work was all done. Now she wanted it back. It's my egg, she sputtered. You stole it from me. Get off my nest and get out of my tree. Poor Horton backed down with a sad, heavy heart. But at that very instant the egg burst apart, and out of the pieces of red and white shell from the egg that he'd sat on so long and so well, Horton the elephant saw something whiz. It had ears and a tail and a trunk just like his. And the people came shouting, What's all this about? They looked and they stared with their eyes popping out. Then they cheered and they cheered and they cheered more and more. They'd never seen anything like it before. My goodness, my gracious, they shouted. My word, it's something brand new. It's an elephant bird. And it should be. It should be. It should be like that. Because Horton was faithful. He sat and he sat. He meant what he said, and he said what he meant. And they sent him home happy, 100%. Yay! The end. Good night.